Run It Studios is the home of the Run Radio podcast and runradio.net, a podcast and station about the relentless, resilient, and innovative types, inspiring strides in life, business, and beyond. Welcome back to the Run Radio podcast from Run It Studios. We like to say we talk about running things literally and metaphorically, like you are running your business, your life, your health. All of those things are very important. And today, someone that knows a little bit about being an entrepreneur, like many of us, a coach, you've written a few books, and we're going to talk about it. I want to welcome Chris Terzakos.
Great. Thank you for having me on your show.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about your journey, what your entrepreneurship journey was like, and then we'll talk about some of the books and your writing style.
Okay, sounds good. So, yeah, growing up in New York City at an early age, single family parent, my mother worked 2 jobs, raising 4 kids. I grew up in, hard knocks. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth, so I had to, find my way. I traded through water, swam through all kinds of waves, and I went into construction at an early age. From high school, I went straight into the business. After 5 years, my supervisor of the company, the owner of the company, made me a supervisor, and that started my journey as an entrepreneur.
So it sounds like things were moving along pretty good, and then your health kind of, like a lot of us, gets in the way.
Well, I've always been healthy. It's just
Yeah.
that, certain things, occurred that one of them I wrote the book on hernia without surgery, and the other one was testosterone, how to
Yeah.
increase testosterone. So yeah, everyone's gonna have, ups and downs in life, and you just gotta face them with a positive mindset, and you move on.
Yeah. Was it easy for you? If were you brought up around positivity? I know it was tough at times, you were saying, but was it very encouraging?
Well, your first question was, did I grow up around positivity? Absolutely not.
Okay.
No way.
Yeah.
Growing up in the streets of New York, there was no positivity.
Yeah.
The positive mindset came later on in life. In my early days, there was no positivity. Everything was just a mess.
Yeah. How did you get that? Because a lot of times when you get in a negative headspace, it's not easy just to flip a switch or turn yourself around.
Great question. How did you get that? Right. So, how did I get it? Well, first, I lost my best friend. He got murdered. He was 20 years old, 21 years old. I was 20 years old. So, I lost my best friend. Um, I didn't make professional baseball. They did scout me out to become a professional baseball player. That didn't happen. Certain things, when they don't happen, then it's a wake up call. Why aren't these things happening? Why is there no, positive triggers? How come? And then you say to yourself, how come? And then later on, after my best friend was murdered, I'm going to say 6 years later, I lost my sister, my older sister. She was like my second mom. She used to put us to bed, cook us dinner, because my mom worked 2 jobs. So she died. So then all of these things happen, and it's the wake up call of life,
Yeah.
and these are the things that you go through, and you have to handle them the best that you can. After my sister died, I didn't handle that too good. I was actually angry, so I was doing some really crazy shit that I
Yeah.
shouldn't have been doing. And I paid the price for it, but you get up, you get knocked down, you get up, and just keep getting up. Don't quit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it usually takes some practice to maintain that positivity. So when you got the wake up call and you kept getting back up, which is, very commendable, it's easy to stay down in those times. But getting back up over and over, what was your drive? Where did you find that grit?
Uh, Self love.
Really?
I yeah, I started with I got to start loving myself.
Yeah.
You know, I always would love somebody else first. I would always put somebody else before me. And then over the years, I realized, I'm a caretaker. I always took care of people,
Yeah.
regardless. I put over 600 people to work, in my life. So I always was, a caretaker. Um, so yeah, I had to put myself first. It sounds a little selfish if people listening. It's not selfish. You got to put yourself first, and then everything else comes after, your family or your loved ones.
I feel like it's a shift in society that I think we're starting to see, that we do have to take care of ourselves first
Yeah.
before we can be any good to anybody else. Do you have any tips or advice? Like, what are some little things that somebody can do that's not used to loving themselves?
Okay. So first, I would recommend um, start being kind to others. Be good to others because good will come back to you. The way you want to be treated, treat others the same way. That's one step. The other step is I recommend eating healthy because if you don't eat healthy and you eat all this kind of crap that's out there, it affects your mind. It affects your mind, it affects your body, it affects sleep. So I would say start eating healthy because eating healthy will create a healthy mind.
Mhm.
And you'll be positive. I also recommend exercise. You don't need to be Jack LaLanne or all these. You don't need to do that. Just exercise 3, 4 days a week. You'll be good. You know, and uh, and that's how I would give my tips to you.
Were those habits easy for you to adopt?
Exercise was very easy because I was always fit. I know that was my life.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Drugs and alcohol wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
Exercise was my thing. Some guys would make fun of you. Hey, you're going to the gym. Okay, yeah, I'm going to the gym. You're gonna go drink, and then tomorrow you're gonna have a hangover, and you're gonna feel like shit, and I'm gonna be happy
Yeah.
and right.
Feel good.
So yeah, right. So drugs and alcohol wasn't my thing. Exercise was easy. Eating healthy was easy. That all came to me naturally. I didn't have to change. I was never overweight. I always had this thing that I would never be fat or I would never be unhealthy, because I want to be healthy. I want to be able to help the young people today, Um, I'm 65 years old. I don't know if you saw my website. Did you take a look at my website?
I was looking at your profile where we connected,
Okay.
so I've been
Yeah,
using
well,
that. Yeah.
here's one of my books, How to
Yeah, I
Increase
saw, I did see
Testosterone.
that. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
most 65-year-old guys they don't look like this. Okay, and your audience, you can look like that. You
Yeah.
can feel what I feel if you just stay dedicated, disciplined, and be true to yourself. This can work for you, just like it worked for me.
So when you decided to put some of that knowledge into your books, what was that process like for you? How did you know what book you were going to start with? When did you know you had a second book in you? How did you find the time to write?
My wife, my wife, she's the one who encouraged me to write these 3 books. It was my wife. Growing up in the streets of New York, I don't know if you saw it, Trina, but here's my memoir. My wife encouraged me strongly. That was the first book that I wrote. Was the memoir. That was a tough book to write. A lot of different feelings inside that I overcame, throughout my life. A lot of good times. Like I built the largest casino in the United States. I had a great time up there in Connecticut. 7 years I spent there. Um, it just educated me. I became an entrepreneur even more so in life. I learned a lot. I met all kinds of people. So yeah, my wife has driven me to write these books. The second book was the natural testosterone book, how
Mhm.
to increase testosterone naturally, because my testosterone was low in my 50s. and I wasn't feeling good. Different things. You feel depressed. Just certain things. You had mind fog. So I said I'm gonna figure out. I went to a doctor, got a blood exam. My testosterone came back 81 nanograms, which is horrible. Anyone that's listening, if you get a test and your testosterone is 300 nanograms or less, you got to go get some help. Either go on your own program, or either buy my book, or you can go on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, which I didn't choose because that's a commitment for the rest of your life.
Mm.
So you got to take synthetic testosterone every week. Got to take a shot. You got to donate blood every 3 months because your blood thickens. You have to check your heart. You got to go to a doctor once or twice a month because it needs to be supervised by a doctor. I didn't want to sit in doctor's offices twice a month. That's not my cup of tea. So I chose to educate myself even further, and I did. So I went from 81 nanograms, and then 8 or 9 months later, I went back to a holistic doctor, took a full blood exam again, and it came back a little less than 700. And my wife and I were in the room, and we were like, unbelievable. My program worked.
Good.
So we get in my truck, and my wife says, okay, that was great. Now you're going to write a book. So you're going to help people. I said, okay, let's do it. So I wrote the book. Exactly how I did it is how I wrote it in the book. So that book was actually easy to write because I'm the living specimen. I did it. And by the way, both exams are in the book, the before and the after, just to show the people reading the book that this is for real.
Yeah. Did you get any feedback on the second one? Have you had some
Oh,
testimonials? What were those like?
forget it. People
Yeah.
responding like crazy. They thank me all the time. Like, I'm coaching people. Like my phone's always ringing. So yeah,
Good. That's got to feel good.
yeah, of course, because you know you don't need to be like you don't need to be tied down to anything.
Yeah.
Why should you not have freedom?
Yeah.
And TRT is not having freedom. That's a commitment. And if you want that commitment, that's good. Now, I'm not against
Yeah.
testosterone.
To each their own, definitely. Everybody's got to follow their own path. But
I'm not against it
yeah.
because some people can't produce testosterone at all.
Yeah.
Even if you went on my program, some people just can't produce testosterone. So what's the last resort would be TRT, which is healthy for you anyway, by the way.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you've been helping people. Let's talk about your last book.
Okay, hernia without surgery.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the book cover.
Yeah.
So, yep, so in my 50s, here I am, I'm ego lifting in the gym, which I never should be ego lifting. I started lifting heavier weights. So what happens? I got a hernia. I got an inguinal hernia. It's by your groin. Again, I go to a doctor. What does he say? You got to get surgery. We can set you up in a week or two. If you're ready. I said, I'm not ready.
No, I'm not.
Right, exactly. So, again, I said I'm going to try first to find out how I can heal from it, and I started experimenting. I started reading.
Wait, I want to know what was your doctor's, did your doctor give any response or just kind of, okay, I'll see you in 3 months, or what happened?
No, he just told me when I was walking out the door, he just said, just be careful. He says, whatever you do, you got a hernia, just be careful. I said, okay. I said, I'll be in touch with you.
Okay.
Which I was. I contacted him like 2-3 weeks later, and I said, I'm still not ready yet. I'm still thinking about it. But I really was on a mission to heal on my own. And that's what I did. I started doing different things. I started reading about hernias. And my program started working.
Huh. Well, without giving too much away, how does one even start to heal their own hernia? Because I thought that did have to be surgically put back in.
No, that's not true. That's not true. So when you repair a hernia,
Uh-huh.
it's like it's a piece of mesh.
Yeah.
It's a piece of mesh. Just picture like a hole in the wall of your house. How
Right.
you put that mesh first, and then you put the spackle.
Right.
It's just basically it's the same type of surgery. They open you up, they put the mesh over it, they push everything back inside, they sew it up, and now you got a patch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lot of side effects to that.
Yeah.
Okay, when you get surgery, I've spoken to people who have got the surgery. They say, I wish I would have met you before. I never
Oh,
would have got the surgery.
really?
I had so many complications. They told me what they were. But the thing is, with a mesh surgery, you could pop the mesh by lifting up heavy bottled water or groceries.
Yeah.
That could snap in your body, and then you got to go back, reopen you up again, and redo it over again. So these are things that I know and I didn't want. I said, I can't do this.
Yeah.
You know why? Knowing me, I would rip it open again because I'm in the gym all the time.
Yeah.
So I know me, I would rip that open again. I did it with stitches. I got stitches in my arm. I reopened them up because, that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, I went on my own program. There's 9 steps to heal the hernia. You're always going to have the little perforation in your body.
Okay.
That will never close 100%, but it will close at least 50%, because the way you treat the muscle around the hernia, the muscles will contract, and now the hole will get a little smaller,
Okay.
and after a while, you don't really see the hernia anymore.
Okay.
Now, when it does flare up, because they do flare up, stress is big. And stress is number one. When you're stressed out, your hernia will flare up. If you're exercising and doing some madness in the gym, your hernia will act up. Now, when I exercise, I always wear a hernia belt.
Okay.
So it's a belt, it's got a pad, it goes on tight around your waist, it holds the hernia in place. I can do any kind of exercise. I can lift heavy, I can lift light, I can do anything. That hernia is not going to pop out. So I recommend, if you have a hernia and you're exercising, just be careful, put on a hernia belt, and you'll be safe. You cannot rip it open any bigger. As long as you got that hernia belt on, you'll be good. Once your exercise program is over for that day, take the belt off. You don't need the belt.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit on belonging to yourself.
Okay.
So, what encouraged or inspired you to write on that? It's kind of it's a much needed topic, even a little bit personal, but what when you had so many other things to talk about, your fitness, your diet, even if you wanted to, why did you choose to talk about kindness?
My wife.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my wife. She's the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I married her. I got married going on 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I knew she was the one from the moment that I put my eyes on her. She bleeds kindness.
Oh.
She reigns with kindness, and she instilled that into me. Being kind.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I was always, like a caretaker, but was I always kind? No.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, nice and kind are two different things. You just hit on something very important. You
Mhm.
can take care of somebody, but you can also do it with or without kindness.
100%.
Yeah.
That's true. So yeah, I need to liberate myself from all my past traumas. So my wife encouraged me to write the book. We actually, this is interesting that you brought this up. When we were doing the outline, my wife and I, that's how you write a book. You do the outline first. after 7 or 8 items that I wrote down, I dropped the pen and I looked at her. I said, "Who would want this life?" I said, "Look at this life that we just wrote down." And she said, "Stop. We're going to keep going. You're going to keep writing them down, and then you're going to take the outline and transform it into the book." I was like, wow, I wouldn't want this life, but I wouldn't be the person who I am today if I didn't go through what I went through in life.
Oh, you mean you were reflecting on what had happened to you?
Oh
That's what
yeah,
you were, okay.
yeah.
And
That
so it
book,
was just,
that book, Trina, took a year to write.
so it was just eye-opening for you to reflect like that
Yeah,
really happened.
yeah, yeah. There was
Wow.
times that I would write not a paragraph. I would write like a chapter,
Yeah.
and then like I told my wife, I need a break. I need 3-4 day break from
Yeah.
writing the book. I need some downtime.
Yeah, because
'Cause
you're going back to that place and
Yeah, you got to
reliving.
relive it. You got to
Yeah.
relive different things that happen in your life. You got to relive it, and I did relive it, and here I am.
And you're turning it around. I think that's something important for a lot of people. Hopefully, if someone's listening and they're in that bad place right now, they know that they don't have to stay there.
100%. If you're in darkness, there's always light. Just always remember, there's light. So if you're in the dark, you got to swim out of it like I did. Swim across it and look for the light because there is light.
If you could do it differently and you could do something that you know now that could have gotten you out of it sooner, what would that be?
That's a good question. It's the first time somebody ever asked me that question. Okay, that was a good one. What would it be? I would probably want to continue to stay in school
Hmm.
and get an education.
Yeah.
Being in the streets of New York, you see too much shit.
Yeah.
You see a lot of shit. I mean, a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And I saw it. If I was to redo it over again, I would want to stay in school, and take that path in school, maybe become, something else in life. I don't regret anything in my life. I have no regrets. But I do have a great deal of experience that if people need to talk to me about certain topics and I face those topics, I'm the guy to talk to.
Good, good. I'm so glad that you have turned it around and you're still doing things that make you feel like you're living your best life. What's next? Do you have anything in the works?
Uh, not really. I think we're gonna open up like a retreat center. My wife has a plan to open up a retreat center
Oh,
in another state. I believe we're gonna go to Hawaii possibly.
nice.
Yeah, and then we're gonna have like workshops, people who want to come, heal, and we'll do different workshops. We'll have a lot of therapists. My wife, my wife interviewed over I think 2,000 people on her podcast. Most of them are doctors, therapists, coaches.
Yeah.
So we'll have different workshops, and we'll run it like a retreat place.
Sounds good. Well, she's always welcome to come talk to me too if she wants to. And when you guys get to that point, come back and tell me about it. I want to share it
Awesome.
with the world.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. Tell people where they can go to learn more about you and find your books.
My website is healingwarriors.com. All my information is on my website. You can contact me through my phone. You can contact me through my emails. Everything is there for you. My books are on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and I'm here to help you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You can find the rest of the videos if you want to listen or watch when you link over to any platform you prefer from runitstudios.com.